Hello and welcome to my podcast Sandras Week, the English version. I'm Swedish, living in Finland, so forgive me if my English is not perfect. This is the first episode and the content will vary depending on how my week has been. I work as a personal assistant, but I also volunteer on weekdays in an association that I have been involved in starting. The association is called Saga Loppis and Café RF, a combined flea market and coffee shop, and is located here in the Kollebi in Finland. The association is also on Facebook for those of you who want to know more about it. Once a week, I am also part of a small group in the Kollebi called Text och musikverkstan, the lyrics and music workshop, uh, where we sit and compose and write new music. Right now, before Easter, we are working on releasing a DVD which will be sold for the benefit of the needy in different situations. On that DVD, I will read lyrics, which I think is great fun. So, let's see what else. Well, I will start with telling you all that if you hear some strange noises in the background, that's my youngest cat playing around. So I'm sorry if that sort of disturbing you all. But let's get back to the topics. Snow. Yes, there has been a lot of snow here in the village, and of course you have to go out and drive. But I will not whine or complain because so far it has gone well. Keep your fingers crossed that it will continue like this. Books then. Well, I just wrote and self-published my first printed book. Woohoo! Expensive to get it printed yourself, but what to do when you do not happen to be rich? Well, it's fun anyway. So, with that inspiration, I decided to also try to sell used books I have in my bookshop. So then I created a Facebook page for this purpose. Everything must be Facebook nowadays, so what to do? That page is called Sandra Freilund Books and More. Um, and then we have a lot of royal whining about military honors. Well, I just have to comment on this whining and so called despair that Prince Harry, according to the media, seems to have right now. So, the guy is an army captain in the British Army and has done 2 tours foreign service in Afghanistan and apparently seems to have got a lot of unrelated military honors on this basis from the Queen. If that is true, then as an old military and veteran, you can get quite upset that all of us other mortals who have done the same are not then entitled to a lot of unrelated military honors. I, for example, did military service as an officer in the Swedish Air Force and have 2 foreign services in Bosnia and Kosovo when it was uneasy there and a lot of shooting going on. I could imagine a military honor title as, well, why not honorary major within the paratroopers? Well, that will never happen. But Prince Harry should just not complain that he has now been deprived of the military honor titles he previously received from Queen Elizabeth when he now doesn't want to be royal anymore. Personally, I think then that he should only have the titles he personally physically earned and nothing else, as the rest of us. From one thing to another, porn discussions in confirmation teaching. Well, you won't believe this, but in the latest issue of Kyrkpressen, a church newspaper here in the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Finland, there is a big article about talking and discussing porn in confirmation teaching. But hello, the confirmation is a confirmation of the baptism. And what is baptism then? Well, according to Wikipedia's description, baptism is the rite of passage through which someone is admitted into the fellowship of the Christian Church. Baptism is a sacrament in several denominations and necessary for a person to be admitted to Christianity. Many denominations believe that with baptism, man is born again in the name of Jesus, while others see baptism as a visible confirmation of a person's choice to be a Christian after a rebirth. So, question mark. Why in the name of heaven is there even a porn discussion in the confirmation teaching? I'm just asking. This is kind of crazy for me. So, next topic, freedom of expression and political correctness. Hmm. Well, we have this huge hot potato about freedom of speech versus political correctness. Well, purely statutory, most democratic countries have something called freedom of speech. But in recent years, there have been crimes called hate crimes, and they apparently apply to things that someone has said or written that someone else has taken offense of. Yes, I understand that there are serious hate crimes that are perfectly okay, that they are crime classified, but now I'm talking about things like that little whining that maybe 20, 30 years ago was barely noticed and which can hardly be described as hate crimes. You must also not openly criticize a public person about something that the person in question has taken a stand for or against if that person belongs to a minority of some kind, because then you are quickly called some kind of phobe or ist. Unfortunately, it seems that in order to be able to use your statutory freedom of expression, you have to censor yourself quite heavily in today's world. That was not the case in the 70s and 80s when I grew up. Well, next topic, face mask or not. Also, we have this with face masks. Oh Lord. Well, first the politicians scare the populations around the world with COVID-19 and that you have to wear a mask to protect each other. But what happens when you go out the door to different places? Well, the older people are, the more likely they are to wear masks and keep their distance. But then the younger they are, for instance, teenagers, the less likely they are to wear masks and the closer they are to each other. No 1 or 2 meters distance there. No, 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 no. Personally, I think there are a lot of different signals coming from both the right and the left regarding what is really true and not when it comes to this whole corona thing. The only thing I know for sure is that the more frightened the population is, the more controllable it is. That's it. In addition, such things were called in the military when I did the military service psychological warfare. Hmm, just a thought. Well, this was the first episode of my podcast. Thank you for listening, and hopefully, you will join in again in the next episode of Sandras Week. Thank you.